You know what the New York Times has described him as?
Sammy?
Yeah.
What?
They say his comedy displays an analytic style full of wordplay, clever misdirection, and ethnic humor riffing on his Middle Eastern roots.
Wow. It sounds like AI wrote that.
It's just so whitewashed. It's like ethnic humor. Like, you know, like what is
And by AI, I mean Aryan intelligence.
ethnic humor, Middle Eastern roots? Just like be more vague,
Okay.
please.
Can't say Palestine. Can't say
No.
Palestine. Must generate a sentence without Palestine in it.
I just don't like the word ethnic because it's like anything that's not white is ethnic, right?
Right.
It's just the non-white.
All right, I'm back.
Sammy.
Are you calling in from Guantanamo?
I know my sweatshirt suggests it, but
You are dressed the part and your internet's bad, so I'm just
they gave me an hour. They gave me an hour. They told me I could do this.
You have a lot of funds in your account. Your
Yeah, I've
We'll put money on you,
enough to do podcasts. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back.
Sammy, Obeid, did you hear anything that I said about you? First of all, we rescheduled this podcast because you were like, wait till I have a good internet connection.
Yeah. This is good internet for me.
Yeah, we don't really do call-ins either.
Yeah. We're not a radio show from the 90s. Anyways, as I was saying, Sammy Obeid, one of the most talented, relevant comedians right now, talking about all of the things that are important, especially Palestine, and doing it in a way that is often improvised and so talented. So many people cannot do that, and Sammy is one of the best doing it right now. Welcome to the podcast, my good friend Sammy Obeid.
Thank you, guys. I'm calling in from Guantanamo. Actually, I'm calling in from Alligator Alcatraz. We don't have the best internet here, but we got alligators.
Maybe that's why your laptop is hot also, right? Just
probably. It's because they keep searching it.
Right.
It's literally my laptop's powered on Palantir. I'm running on Palantir OS 7.
Yeah,
Pegasus OS.
We're all running on Pegasus. We all have Pegasus.
Yeah. Should we cut to our sponsors? We run Pegasus ads. Might as well just do Pegasus ads at this point, since they're in all of our computers.
Yeah, that's why it's sponsored by 23andMe. Give us your DNA.
Yeah.
Sammy, welcome to the pod.
Thanks.
You've met Lara before. You guys were talking about your show.
Yes, in April, in at the Apollo Theater in Paris.
Nice.
Correct.
She stayed the whole time. She didn't walk out. She's a real one.
Did anybody walk out?
I think a few people did.
Some people did.
I'm just so used to it at this point. I'm just so used to the show being like 20% lighter at the end.
Okay. I laughed so hard that I cried. Which, it doesn't happen every day.
That's good. I would rather have that than the other way around for sure.
Than cry so hard that you laugh.
Out of hysteria.
It does come full circle at some point.
It is. Yeah. It is. Sometimes I can't tell the difference.
But how are your European shows? Like Europe likes you. You seem to have some sold out shows in Europe.
I don't know. I can't really distinguish them from other fans, but they come out, they show up, and Europe is a place where I will go like twice a year if they really ask me to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't. I like how you can't distinguish them from anybody else.
I can't distinguish them. No. Yeah, they all look like colonizers to me. Come on now.
Yes. I have noticed that European crowds are like slightly better read, right? They understand things about politics a little bit more.
Actually, now that you say that, and also they're almost more interested in laughing at our politics than American audiences. Like,
yeah, well, American audiences are suffering under it right now, so it's harder for them to laugh. But like Europeans are already laughing at us,
right?
So
Right, exactly. So that actually is a great thing
for comedy, yes, really
for
good for
comedy.
comedy.
Not for the people who are living under American government. Yeah.
Yeah, Sammy, I've known you for many years. We've been good friends. I'd love for you to just have an opportunity to tell the story of your family, like where they're from in Palestine, and how you ended up a comedian here today.
Yeah. Well, so as far as Palestine goes, I did my 23andMe shout out. No, I did some kind of genealogy test a couple of years ago, and 75% Levantine. So yeah, and then the rest is it's a mix of stuff. Got some European colonizer blood in me, some random indigenous from who knows where, and then partly from Mars. But you have to pay a little extra to get that info. But yeah, so most of my family tree actually comes from Syria. But I mean, if you're familiar with the Levant and the history of the region, it's kind of like Arabs essentially came from the Syrian desert. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Zionists love to tell us that they came from the Arabian Peninsula, but that's actually not true. So most of my family comes from Syria. I have a handful of lineage that traces back to Palestine, places like Bethlehem, Jerusalem. But in terms of the most immediate was my teta, my grandma, who was born and raised in Jaffa and left in 48. The rest left before that.
Did you go to Palestine?
Never been.
Yeah. Do you want to go? Are you trying to go?
Oh, I do. I really do. More and more every day I want to go. And I know I will. Well, just the right time. Got to pick the right time.
Would you try to do comedy there, or would you try to just go and see?
I'd be fine just going and seeing.
Yeah.
But if if a show is set up, we'll set it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is for anybody watching us from Palestine. They can set up a comedy show.
Hey, anywhere. I'll do a cafe. I'll
Yeah.
do a library. Whatever you got.
You're like, I'll do a checkpoint. I'll do.
A checkpoint. Oh, that would be that. That's a great. That's a great like Brooklyn comedy show, like Checkpoint comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's run by Zionist Jews.
It's at the cellar. It's at the cellar, actually.
That's a deep cut for the comedy fans.
Yeah.
And you've been, I mean, there are not many comedians that are talking about Palestine actively all the time and have been for many years, right? And so you're a part of a select few in that regard as well.
Me and Mike Rappaport, yeah.
I don't know that he's ever said the word.
Yeah.
Except
if you substitute what he's saying, it's occupied Palestine. So he's basically talking about Palestine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but like
Do you have beef with him? Because Michael has beef with him.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you do. I've never interacted with him.
Okay.
Oh, well, he actually.
I will say one time his show got canceled at a venue near me, and I took his place and performed for his crowd.
I think that means you have beef with him.
You perform for his crowd? Or are you joking?
Yeah, no, I was, but this was like a year and a half ago before he became like. Before the people who were coming out to see him were that motivated for his, cause. So I think it was more of just like a general crowd who was like, oh, famous guy, whatever.
Well, that's kind of cool. That's like decolonial comedy, right? He
Yeah.
has to vacate and you take his spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually had beef with him multiple times because he tagged all the major comedy clubs in LA and told them not to book me. And
oh, is him who started that movement?
I don't know if he was the start of it, but he was definitely a figurehead of it. And
he was the BDS of Michael Schertzer.
Yeah, he started the initiation of the Midas touch, but the opposite way with censorship.
Yeah.
Where everything I touch gets deleted. And yeah, I've called him out for being, a predator, and he's like got a number of legal issues as well. But we're not a Michael Rappaport podcast. The reason that I was bringing that up,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've spent way more time talking about Michael Rappaport in this
Than
last
anything
5
else.
minutes than anything ever, right? Like, this might be the longest
Okay,
5 minutes of my life.
Let's go
Anyway,
back to what you were saying, Michael, because
which is
Michael is right that, Sammy, one thing that you do is that you comment on literally what's happening today.
I try to. Yeah.
So my question is, how much time do you spend reading and consuming the news just to even know what's happening every single day, which that in and of itself is a process and is very time consuming and draining, and then turning that into what you're going to say and then
Right.
doing that every single day. Because I know
Right.
when you were in Paris, you said you spent all day editing, and I'm like, impossible. He has to spend at least half the day consuming news.
That's a lie. Yeah, that's a lie. That's a stand-up bit. Although I don't. First of all, I don't edit myself. I give notes.
Oh, that was really a lie.
Yeah. I give notes, but it's part of the process. So it's like a technicality. But like I do spend a lot of time watching over something and being like, fix that. And while I'm doing that, I'm listening to the news. So I'm consuming probably 3 hours of news a day. As a kind of a multitask thing. I'm like listening to it sometimes actively. I get a lot of news just from scrolling the feed. You just kind of check the temperature of the world by scrolling your Twitter, scrolling your Instagram, and seeing, I mean, we all follow so many great accounts who are sharing us directly what's happening in Palestine and all the major news headlines. And my the source that I prefer that I like is they're called Breaking Points. I don't know if you've heard of them, but I like their coverage. They're really solid. So they summarize everything that's going on within like an hour or two every day. So I consume that, and then try to make a take on things, and try to not get too behind with my editing notes.
Also, Sammy, famous for texting and driving. So if he has a 3-hour drive, he's been texting for 4 hours or consuming media in the process.
I am the number one texter and driver in the United States of America. I was ranked for undefeated. I'm literally undefeated. I haven't crashed it. And I almost got a ticket once.
Are you doing the texting, or are you doing the voice text?
Good question. That's a good question. I do both. You're not a real one if you don't do both.
Okay, and then do you do voice notes?
And Michael, I don't think Michael ever saw this, but sometimes I pull the laptop out. I don't think, but the way that Michael reacted to when I was pulling out the phone, I was like, he's not ready for the laptop.
You are so correct about that.
Only a few people have seen the laptop. You can ask a couple comics; they can vouch for it. I'll pull out the laptop and sometimes just type while I'm driving.
Do people think you're a cop? Because don't cops have laptops?
Do they? If honestly, if you can legally laptop and drive while you're a cop, I'm signing up for the free month.
You can, I think.
Okay. Yeah, you're working at Alcatraz, like.
Yeah, literally. Like if you told me that ICE can text and drive unlimited, I'm sorry, guys. I'm joining ICE.
So what have you seen today? What have you've been scrolling through the feed? What are some of the story? Anything you want to get off your chest? I have some things if you.
Nothing fun.
Oh, none of it's fun.
Yeah, nothing fun. I mean, maybe I know the DOJ's meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell today, or they met with Ghislaine Maxwell today. That's probably the most upbeat news. That's the most positive news of the day. It tells you where the world is right now.
And what do you think that meeting looked like?
Well, does she speak English? First of all, she's French, isn't she? Lara, do you know
she
her?
definitely speaks English.
I don't know her. I think she speaks English.
Is Ghislaine a French name? Is that a typical? Do you know people named Ghislaine in Paris?
I don't. And is that how you pronounce it? Like, are we sure about the pronunciation?
It may not be right.
Are we worried about the pronunciation of a human trafficker?
Michael always just like doesn't care about pronouncing the names of people who have done bad things. So whenever I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not sure, he's like,
Literally.
who cares? Pronounce it wrong. I'm like, well, we just are trying to, you know.
No, that's a good point. I think if you human traffic, you lose the rights to correct pronunciation of
For sure.
Yeah. So Jahislain Maxwell.
Yeah. There you go.
Jahislain. Daughter of a pretty much guaranteed, for sure, we know 100% Mossad asset, right? Like there's no denying that at this point.
No.
Also, no. So he was a publisher, right?
He bought the British Printing Corporation, Mirror Group Newspapers, and Macmillan Publishers, amongst other publishing companies.
But he was a publisher. We know that. He was a publisher. Very powerful man.
Yes, and a Mossad agent.
And then he didn't he die mysteriously falling off of his yacht?
They killed, like, it's very likely that
Accidental drowning is what they say.
It's very likely he was killed by the same people he used to work for.
He was presumed to have fallen overboard.
Yeah.
It
was the Maxwell Publishing House who murdered him, and we're not saying anyone else did it.
He died on a boat.
Natural causes.
He had a lavish funeral in Israel, attended by Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir, President Chaim Herzog, and at least 6 serving and former heads of Israeli intelligence, as well as many dignitaries, politicians, both government and opposition. He was buried in the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. Wow.
You know, Israel has killed so many people right now. I think that you could say it's natural causes.
I'm not sure I get that, but I'm going to take Michael's word for it that it's.
I mean, come on. So
yeah, we'll move forward. We don't need to explain the joke.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you look at like causes of death. It's like heart disease, Israel, diabetes. It's like, okay, so it's one of the natural causes now.
I mean, for sure. For sure. It is the direct cause of death of many people. Is it natural though?
I see.
I don't think it's natural because they're doing it on purpose. Like cancer is just there. Israel is deciding,
I think cancer actually comes from the pollutants that Israel does.
Wow.
Okay, so maybe cancer is also tied back to Israel. I mean,
those just don't get tacked onto the total.
Actually,
so yeah, natural causes isn't even natural causes. It's just been Israel the whole time, actually. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's wild, you guys, because literally this week, my friend from Gaza was diagnosed with thyroid cancer.
Really?
And he's been living in Paris for many years, and he had just had surgery to remove the tumor. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, this is really intense. And he was like, it's fine. Everybody has thyroid cancer in Gaza because of all the pollution of all the weapons. And he's like, my brother had it, my cousin, whatever. Like for him, it was just this ordinary thing that you just get because you grow up in Gaza and everything is polluted from all of the Israeli arms. So actually,
that's crazy. You don't really hear about. I've heard about that a few times, but I didn't know it was that like commonplace. That's horrible.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at remember like after Iraq, like all the birth defects and just like people that died of cancer and the kids that were born with missing limbs and all of this, like because of the remnants of all of the junk that they left over that goes in the soil and the water and the food, the crops, everything. So
really makes their greenwashing campaigns look dumb.
Yeah, where are the environmentalists? Shit.
They're busy dropping 6 times the amount of nuclear bombs on indigenous people who are already besieged. And they also hate Greta now.
Right. They're trying to kill the world's #1 environmentalist.
Yeah, many people were like, drone strike her, and those people work in the US Congress.
Which means they work for Israel. Natural causes.
That's math for you.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what you taught us in Paris. You taught us like about this theorem that was very complex. Do you remember?
Called mean value theorem.
Yeah, mean value theorem. That's the one.
Can you talk about it?
Basically,
I can't tell you what it is, but when he explained it, I did understand it.
Oh yeah, I was asking him.
Oh, okay.
yeah, well, it involves calculus, it involves derivatives, rate of change, and basically I don't know if there's any very quick way to explain it, but basically,
Oh no, it took you like 40 minutes. So
yeah, it took me like 40 minutes. But
Okay, fair enough. Well, I had a question loaded from a while ago where it's like you've been talking about Palestine for a while, and I just wanted to see how the reception has changed for you.
well, yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it this whole time, like for the last 12 so years, whatever. And then obviously in the last 2 years, more so about it because it became extremely relevant to everybody, whether they even know it or not. And so I started getting more support and recognition for it, which was great. But it's kind of a revolving door, if you will. My career has always kind of been like this. People kind of come and go. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they show up, for whatever reason. And I'm totally fine with it. It could be the math. I don't know. But I feel like in the first year of the, I don't want to say the first year of the genocide because it's the first year of the heightened genocide.
yes.
That a lot of people were showing up because they're like, whoa, this isn't a big issue, like Palestine, free Palestine. And then they were there, and then they were just like, okay, this is gonna end, like I did my part, free Palestine. And then they're like, I just want to go back to my life again. And those people kind of disappeared. There was also a lot of people who were upset that I was calling out the Democrats' complicity in the genocide circa November 2024, which I've been calling it out the whole time. So just because I happened to say it right before the election that you wanted to have a certain way, I lost a lot of followers over that. And then I even lost followers after that who were upset because I didn't like outwardly support Kamala, that like Trump is my fault somehow. As if it's not the Democrats' complicity in genocide. And then this year I've been getting a lot of just like random followers who are just like into conspiracies, So, because we're starting to see that a lot of conspiracies are in fact real, that they're not just conspiracies, that these are things we've been hearing our whole lives that actually ring true and actually are somewhat meaningful right now. So yeah, the reception overall has been good. It's been a couple, revolving door, come and go people. But overall I've been growing. And I'm just continuing to, my goal has always been to make the message accessible and for everybody. And I do mean everybody, like even the people who don't want to hear it.
Have you gotten people to be like, I was a Zionist and then I went to your show and like, I'm not anymore?
Yes, not quite that. Not like all it took was 2 hours of your performance.
4 hours.
Yeah, I feel like that would do the opposite for some people. But there's been a lot of people who messaged me and said things, a couple of things. These are my favorite messages. First of all, like I didn't really know much about the issue, or I was raised kind of Zionist, and then I started to watch your videos, and it took me down the rabbit hole, and now I'm completely changed. I've heard that at least 50 times. I've heard a lot of, I grew up in a Zionist family. I'm not really like that. I've changed over the years, but my parents are still Zionists. So I send them your videos to start the conversation, and I'm finally getting them to open up. One of my favorites was my dad grew up Zionist his whole life. I was kind of moderate until recently. Now I'm like pro-Palestine, and I showed him your videos recently. We started a conversation, and he started to change his views in the last month. So I get a lot of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very hard to change parents' minds.
Yeah. Especially those boomers, right?
Right?
Those boomers.
So if you're doing that, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's basically it's great motivation, and that's kind of always been my goal, is to
each one teach one, man.
Yeah, because unfortunately, we are cursed with this situation having so many scholar collegiate level words like occupation, apartheid, colonialism, which these are the perfect words to describe everything that we're seeing. But most people do not know what those words mean or even give a fuck when they hear them. In fact, they'll tune out. They hear apartheid, like, I don't know what the fuck that means, immediately tune out. So sometimes you have to reach people with other words. And so this is kind of what I've realized. Like, unfortunately, if you're in the Free Palestine game, like you're already a 4-year level scholar just because you had to study this shit. But unfortunately, a lot of these words that we use that perfectly characterize what's going on mean nothing to the common folk, So not to say that I've been dumbing myself down. In fact, I should be doing that more. But like, I'm just saying, like, it's just been a constant, I guess, quest to keep seeking other words to describe the situation of these people.
I don't think anybody would accuse you of dumbing down your comedy. You are easily the most intelligent comic working today.
Thank you. For me, I dumb it down. I do like community college level at best.
But that's true. It's important to talk to people in terms that they understand. It's a more effective way of communicating the message, and especially through comedy, which allows people to swallow information when they might otherwise reject it.
100%.
Is stand-up the goal, Sammy, or is the goal something else?
Well, previously it was, I would say initially it was never the goal. It was, first of all, it was never even an idea. It just kind of happened. I fell into it, started doing it. It was going well. And then I thought maybe this is a vehicle to take me somewhere else to do something I like more, like acting or music or something. And then I saw kind of how the industry was run, and I was like, I might just be doing comedy for the rest of my life.
But there has been a small space for, Palestinian or Arab perspectives in these shows. Yeah.
Yes. And I will say, I'm never one to spread this narrative that there's no hope for Arab or Palestinian voices in entertainment. I will just say, it was difficult 10 years ago. There's still going to be some adversity faced now, but now more than ever, like, people hit me up from these big corporation agencies, and they're like, hey, we love your stuff. I'm like, did you watch it? And they're like, they just see that I'm booking shows, and they're like, they want, and I'm like, hey, I'll ride the wave. Like, if you can get me into a room where I can pitch a show, you know what I mean? I'll do a mainstream TV or a movie network as long as I know the basic ethics of the people running it are not extreme Zionist and completely antagonistic to what I believe. Because you do have that occasionally, but you also have Superman. You know what I mean? Superman, right? Which I haven't seen, and I don't know. I honestly don't know the politics behind everyone on the Superman set. But if you can get away with making that movie, there are people in this industry who are going to fuck with you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely still trials and tribulations, especially if you call out Jordana Cutler directly. But there was actually a thing we were talking about, terminology, and I wanted to circle back to something you said earlier where you were like, terminology around conspiracy, right? Where conspiracy is interpreted as a word where it's like the thing is not true. But that's not like the definition of conspiracy. That's just how conspiracy has been interpreted over time. And that's actually like a thing the CIA did, where the first sort of connection to nefarious and conspiracy is like a CIA document. And so, they've been trying to push a narrative, because conspiracy just means a group of people planning nefarious things, right? And then conspiracy theory means like people have a reaction to the plan, the plot that existed. There are numerous confirmed conspiracies, right? And so it's just about like how the use of terminology, even in like, common language, has come to be synonymous with this must not be true.
Exactly. And so, for the last few years, especially, you've had this kind of ostracizing or attempted ostracization of conspiracy theorists and people who accept such conspiracies on many, many issues. And it's been used to like discredit people. And now I think we're seeing something incredible. Like really, like in this moment, I'm obviously dark times, dark subject matter, but I'm actually very thrilled because Trump has been identified in the Epstein files. Suddenly, you have all these liberals, these Democrats, who were typically the ones ostracizing conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorists, suddenly embracing the greatest of all conspiracies. Like Democrats are basically QAnon now.
Yes, they're blue anon.
Or they're blue anon.
Yes, they finally come home.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time where more people are going to be embracing conspiracies because their conspiracies are actually they're theories, but they can eventually be proven into being true.
And it's like they would be so surprised to know that not only is Donald Trump on the list, but so is Bill Clinton.
Yes.
Right? So is Stephen Hawking's, right? Like, so are a lot of people who run industry and have intelligence connections. And so it's not a blue or red thing. It's not a left or right thing. Unfortunately, most governments run by pedophiles at this point.
Yep.
That's a conspiracy, for example.
No,
right.
Well, yes, they're like attempt to stay in power is a conspiracy.
First thing, if we do like a mainstream media appearance, if a Palestinian or Arab goes on, the first thing they're like, do you condemn Hamas? Like, what about pedophilia? Can we just both start by condemning pedophilia? Can we just start there? You know?
And then that would actually lead back to Israel. So.
Yes.
This just happened to Mahmoud Khalil. He was on CNN and they were like, okay, just to be clear though, can we just make sure you condemn Hamas?
Yeah.
And, I watched that clip and I was like, man, they're really never going to stop asking us to condemn.
Yeah.
It's 2 years into the genocide.
Yeah.
The majority of Gaza is in stage 5 famine, which has irreversible consequences on the human body, even if Gaza were now to be flooded with aid and Israel's siege would end. And it still doesn't matter. The condemnation leads the discourse. And I just thought to myself, Israel could literally kill every single Palestinian on earth, and mainstream media would still ask our corpses to condemn Hamas.
100%. This is you see this in the media, you see this in our politicians. You see the way that when Macron said, hey, we might recognize a Palestinian state in 3 months if certain conditions, which is already total theatrics. It's already like, if you actually gave a fuck, you would recognize them now. You don't need a 3-month lead time to recognize a state. You either fucking recognize that shit or you don't. And attached to all of these, this must be satisfied to, conditions to it. And then you saw all the way these politicians were reacting. And it was just like, they were all saying the same thing. They're like, how could you do this after October 7th? How is that one day in hyper focus over everything that's happened if you can just do basic math?
Because it's not about math. It's about this distorted reality where nothing before and nothing after matters.
Zionists operate on an October 7th calendar where that's the only day of the year.
That's true. That's true.
And they're like, how could you do this after October 7th? And it's like, because that's how the calendar works. Days move on.
Exactly. Yeah, no, because people are always like, do you condemn October 7th? I don't have anything against that date. I like October.
I'm actually quite fond of it, I would say.
It's a really nice time of year. So it's kind of fucked up that you're asking me to condemn a date on the calendar.
It's a beautiful time to go outside and do activities like paragliding.
That's a slow clap.
Can I tell a little story?
Yeah, of course.
Please.
I stayed at Michael's apartment October 4th.
That's right.
2023. And so Michael's gone. Michael was in Denver. doing God knows what, but he was stoned out of his mind. All right. And
I was there doing comedy also.
okay. But after the show, you were definitely high. Because I came back from my show and I'll just make it very clear. I'm very thankful that Michael let me stay at his place. It was very, very nice of him.
I feel like you're about to insult him.
I didn't have. Well, I'm going to say something after this, but I didn't have anywhere to go, and he gave me a home. Okay, so it was a very nice thing to do, and I'm coming back from my show. It's like 1 a.m. I just did 2 shows, 7 hours each, right? And I go to the door and I put the key in. He gave me the key. I put the key in, and it's just not moving. It's not moving. Like I try every which way, turn the door, not moving. I call Michael. Michael's like half asleep, and he's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, man, the key's not working." He's like, "Yeah, it can do that sometimes. Just try wiggling in it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, just try. Have you tried wiggling it?" I'm like, "I think so. I'll just try." He's like, "Just try wiggling it." So put the key in, hold the doorknob, and then just wiggle it. And I started wiggling it for maybe 5-10 minutes. And I was like, I'm doing the wiggle, man. It's not working. And then he's then at some point, he's like, well, then I think it just is what it is. I'm like, all my stuff in there. It's 2 a.m. What do you mean it is what it is? Like, am I going to get inside?
Have you been in the place before?
Yeah, I was in there. I was in there all weekend. And
so the key was working.
The key was working all weekend.
Okay.
And now suddenly it's
interesting that you left that part out of the story.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, okay, sure. The key was working up until
it's not like it was the wrong key.
Nothing changed with the key. I didn't drop it in a molten pot of lava. I didn't warp the door in any ways. I did just close the door like I normally did, lock it on the way out. And actually, I think it was a door that like locks automatically when you close it. Wasn't that the thing? That's why I was like one of those things where you have to have the key on you at all times. And so Michael's like, it is what it is. And I'm like, all right, man, well, can I call a locksmith? You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry that we've resorted to this, but like, can I call a locksmith? And he's like, yeah, he's like, I guess, like, he's like, the locksmith, he's like, honestly, the locksmith fucked up my door. It was the locksmith's fault. And I was like, yeah, I mean, so that sucks, but we got to get back in, you know? And so I'm like, I'm going to call the locksmith. And so I call the locksmith, and mind you, it was a Sunday night. So it's Monday morning now. It's now 2 a.m. Monday morning. There's only going to be like one locksmith in the Santa Monica area that's going to like come see me. And so
he's going to charge a premium.
Yeah. And so I call, and then they're like, we're going to send somebody who'll be there in like 2 hours. So I'm sitting there in 2 hours, just like working on jokes, editing, right?
Editing.
And then this guy shows up around 4 a.m. He's wearing sandals, and just has a box. Doesn't look happy. Doesn't look like he's been enjoying his life. Walks up. He's like, what's the problem? Like, the key doesn't work. I tried wiggling it. And then he's like, all right. He's like, I need to see your ID. And then I think Michael had sent me his ID so that I could show him he was the owner of the place. I'm like, this is my ID. This is the owner. I'm staying with my friend. He's like, all right. He's like, so I'm going to try this thing first. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to basically just, what's it called when you like break the door? Like you put the thing in to break the door. He's like, I'm going to try this first. And if it doesn't work, then I'm going to have to basically force my way into the door. I'm like, all right. And so the thing didn't work. And I'm like, have you tried wiggling it? Tried wiggling it. Didn't work. And then he's like, I'm going to have to basically So he basically slips the thing into Michael's door, and like he pressurizes it with air. So the door pops open and the lock breaks. And he's like, and then obviously I'm going to have to replace the lock. So he's like, sign here, whatever. I signed there. It was like $700, something like that. And then we go in, and the thing about Michael's spot is that he has a giant mug on his counter that says, "I love Gaza." Okay. Mind you, this is October 5th, 2023. Okay.
Right.
Before the trend. Okay. And so at this point, like I'm noticing, I'm like, what, because I'm listening to this locksmith. I'm like, what, his accent sounds familiar, you know? And it's, it's like, it's 4 a.m., I'm incoherent. I could be imagining things. I don't know. And then he has me Zell him. And in order to Zell him, I have to Zell it to his name. And he shows me his ID to prove that I'm Zelling it to him. And I look at the name and I don't remember what the name was. And I don't want to just like make up some racist caricature. But
Yehuda Ben Cohen Zimmerman.
He said it, not me. This guy was Israeli, like up and down Israeli.
Wow.
And so
that's got to be the first time that an Israeli has let a Palestinian into an apartment.
Exactly. But not the first time he broke down a door, right? And so yeah, he looked for my family, couldn't find them. And then he replaced the lock. And then on his way out, he looked at the mug and he just stared at it for like a minute too long. And he didn't say anything. And he just walked out. And then I closed the door. And, Michael had a new lock. And then I let Michael know the next day. And I was like, dude, yeah, so the locksmith came. And it turns out he was Israeli. And Michael's like, that's the guy who fucked up my door.
Yes.
And I'm like, really? Well, when he came to the apartment, he acted like he had never been to the place.
Oh my God.
And that's when Michael made a great joke. He's like, not very typical for an Israeli.
Yeah.
They act like they've been everywhere.
Yeah. 2,000 years ago, we were here.
Cyprus is now promised to them 2,000 years ago, too.
Yep.
It's amazing how the scope of what was promised continues to expand.
A lot of promises were made a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And that was October 5th. And
I think that's the reason October 7th happened, actually.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Because that's why you started telling this story. Like there was going to be some connection.
No, it was just a funny story about us. We could use that for the Patreon, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And then I paid you back for that.
He paid me back.
Yeah.
Michael paid for the door. And
the only time that a Palestinian has been let into an apartment by an Israeli and it was paid for by a Jew. So tell me that's not reparations.
That is very much reparations.
Lara's taking the joke a little too literally. It's obviously not reparations.
The lack of sleep, though, I will never get back. I'll tell you that.
And that's what happened to me when I was sitting passenger seat while you were texting and driving.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do this once a month. We do this little Patreon happy hour with some of our listeners. And occasionally I'll take it driving.
Yeah.
And it really stresses Michael out. He's like, are you just going to talk and drive?
That's like Michael's second cause after Palestine. If Palestine wasn't under a constant genocide, Michael would for sure have an advocacy group against texting and driving.
He'd be like, moms against drunk driving. It's just like, Michael's is just like
in both cases I'm trying to help Palestinians not be killed by maybe the second most cause of death.
That's true. Natural causes.
Yeah. So
if I die texting and driving because my phone glitches because of Pegasus, that's Israel. So
yes.
Now you know.
That is. There you go. Wow, we've actually connected them to a lot of natural causes.
I'm just here for the ride. And I've been texting the whole time.
Oh, if you have, you're good at it because you've not broken eye contact.
He's also been driving the whole time.
I'm in my car. This is a Zoom set. I'm in my car.
Ah, so good.
I admire your guys' work. Great job. Thank you. I think I discovered you guys because it was something like 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, hey, there should be a Palestine pod. I want to make a Palestine pod. And I was like, fuck. So good job.
You were like, fuck, someone did it already.
You guys got to it first. Yeah. So I would have, who knows? I would have been the Palestine pod guy this time if you guys hadn't got to it like a year.
Because you wanted the name.
Yeah, well, I thought like there should be a podcast exclusively about Palestine. So naturally it would be the Palestine pod.
But so there's like so many. And so like you can pick a different name.
Yeah.
We will sell you the rights.
I'll just take it. Hey, it's happened before.
Zionist logic.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have like you do podcasts sometimes, like your own. You do
Sometimes.
do
You have a podcast.
It's inconsistent. My
Yeah.
goal is next year to be touring less so I can do more podcasting content and have like Trump and Netanyahu and just like
Oh,
just a
yes.
bunch of Gen
on
Z
the
boys.
show.
That
Yeah.
Nelk Boys route.
It basically I'm just gonna ask the Nelk Boys to be my co-hosts.
Do you want to comment on that? The Nelk Boys did have Netanyahu, war criminal Netanyahu, on the podcast.
You know what?
Any
You know what?
thoughts?
You know what's sad? Like this is another reason to hate Netanyahu. I didn't even know who the Nelk Boys were until Netanyahu went on the podcast. And so
Same.
thanks Netanyahu. Now I have to know who the Nelk Boys are. You know what I mean? Because and then like a friend sent it to me and I was like, who are, I've never heard of these guys. Like, it's like a Gen Z bro podcast. And I was like, okay, so they must have some like decent takes on things. And I honestly didn't look up any of their history, but after I heard the way they were addressing the fallout of the situation, I'm like, yo, these guys are some of the stupidest people I've ever seen in my life. This guy, one of the Nelk Boys, he did a two camera thing where he's like, hey, just addressing the fallout. Like, I just want to let you know, if we had him again, we'd be grilling him. This isn't an apology, by the way. It's not an apology. Just like total bro code. Like, don't apologize, double down. Just like, yeah, we would. And he kept saying, I'm sleeping fine at night. And he said something like, we have Muslim friends. We've been to Kazakhstan or some shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You were literally one of the this is like the dumb. Like, honestly, if you just had Netanyahu on the pod and said nothing, I would have had more respect for you. Like, that follow up like made me realize how insanely dumb. And I'm like, this is exactly why Netanyahu reached out to you.
Yes, the Zionists built up like a media architecture so that they can then take advantage of it and advance their messaging through it. The Nelk Boys are like if a fraternity became a podcast. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, Sammy. We so appreciate your time. You're so funny. You're so smart. I've always looked up to you so much, and you've been so kind to me in comedy. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I love you guys.
And I'm so glad you're not teaching math anymore.
Well, you never know how things might end up. We'll see.
Because honestly, like now you're doing it and you're doing something else, which is so much better,
Now you're teaching the world.
I'm
Yeah.
teaching
And it's
you.
not just math.
But it is also math.
It is also.
Yes.
So it comes back to math.
A fraction of it is math.
A fraction of it is math.
That's good.
Love you, bud. Thank you so much.